Hello, everyone. I'm Keith Levison. I'm one of the managing brokers for MVP Realty here in the Orlando area. And as always, I am joined by the man, the myth, the legend, the niche himself, Nish from All County Property Management. And today, one of the big things that we actually wanted to talk about, we had spoken about briefly on our other videos. But if you are thinking about getting into investments, this is an episode you want to watch. Property investments, this is the episode for you. So actually, I kind of want to start it with asking Nish, if somebody was, from your perspective, right? Because I deal with the acquisition end and
Yeah.
then I'm done. I walk away. you
Yes.
know but you're there for the ride. And that being the case, I think maybe our views on what a investor's mindset should look like are probably a little different depending on where they are in the stage or where
Hmm.
they are in the process. So I would love to get your insight in regards to if somebody's thinking about getting into being an investor, having long-term, short-term rentals. What should they start thinking? What should their process mentally look like?
Well, I mean, there's a couple of things, right? There's some important things, but you from the beginning you have to have a plan set up what you're going to do. So if you want long term or if you want short term, if you're going to have a property manager or if you're not going to have a property manager, how long do you expect to hold this property, and how long do you want to get rid of the property or flip it per se? So one of the major things is that if you're going to manage it, if you're going to have the property yourself, you want to educate yourself. You want to educate yourself about the process, and you want to be prepared for those type of things. You want to make sure that you have the people skills, because having an investment property, you need to have those people skills, customer service, empathy, sympathy, showing all these things when you have a property. One of my biggest things that I talk to about people, about investors, which I'll come back to as well, is the emotional detachment
Mm-hmm.
of having a property. So now you have investors that are accidental investors, which means that you got a property that was given to you by somebody passing away or whatever the case may be. Or you went and bought a second house and you didn't want to sell the house, so you're going to go ahead and rent it out. You have situations like that. So you do not, if it's a investment property, you want to emotionally detach yourself from it, because if you're going to stay emotionally attached to that property, it's going to give you problems in the long run. Oh, my tenant is not taking care of the property the way they should be taking care of it, or they didn't cut the grass, or they are talking to the neighbors, or whatever the case is. So you want to take that out of the situation. um, Another thing that you want to have while getting investment properties is patience. Patience comes in a long way, because you're going to have obstacles. You're going to have ups and downs when it comes to investment properties. A water heater might go out the first week of a tenant moving in. The AC might go out. You might have certain situations. So this is, again, you're planning. You have a plan ahead of you, but you also have patience. You want to do risk management, um, because investment, there's always risk with investments, right? So you want to make sure that all these things are planned out. One of the major things I always tell people is always have money set aside for if something goes wrong at the
Mm-hmm.
property. You can say, oh, nothing will go wrong, nothing will go wrong. But setting aside anywhere 15, 20, 25% of income or money, or planning, basically how much a water heater replacement is going to cost, how much an AC replacement is going to cost, setting that money aside for when it does happen.
Yeah. And it's so true. I forget the statistic. One of the things I was looking at is they were talking about a lot of property investors end up going bankrupt. And the big reason that I see for that is one, what you're talking about, not knowing how to manage the property effectively, where their margins need to be. On my end, as the acquisition or sale of a asset, I see a lot of times them making offers on properties that make sense for somebody who's buying a personal home, but they don't make sense in regards to an investment property.
Yep. And
Yeah.
that's where having an investor's mindset comes into play, because you're not basing your purchase on the way the property makes you feel or the way the property looks. It's an investment. So, what is your return out of the property?
Mm-hmm. Absolutely. And I think that oftentimes may be hard for an individual because, I'll hear investors that will go off on, tenants. And I can't believe he did this and that guy did that and this. And it's like, you can't, it is your home, but at the same time, it's their home. And
Exactly.
you got to realize that any house property that's being lived in, there's going to be wear and tear. It's just part of it. I mean, the we've lived in our house for like 6 years since my daughter was born. And one day I walk over, we get through age 1, 2, 3, 4, age 5, she decides to draw on the walls. You know, it's like we've been here 5 years. You've never done this. And all of a sudden, you draw on the walls. And I discover this, and while we own the house and we laugh about it, you got to understand if somebody's renting a property, they're in the same situation. They come into a room and find their kid drew on the walls. Yes, at the end of the day, that may be something that's taken out of a security deposit or whatever as not normal wear and tear, but you can't get mad at them for living in the
Yeah.
property.
Absolutely. Just another example would be what you put into the property is what you're going to get out of the property. So that's another mindset to have, is that, for example, you were talking about like wear and tear. So if you put into a property, when somebody moves out and you're not doing the repairs that necessary, you're just trying to get it rented fast. Well, that's the type of clientele you're going to attract as well, is that people who will not take care of the property. If the landlord is not taking care of the property, then the tenants most likely won't be taking care of the property either. So when a tenant moves out, making sure that you set money aside, that you're going to have to paint the house probably. You're going to have to probably clean the carpet, in some cases replace the carpet. Somebody, for instance, say if you were renting and you're renting for 5 years, that those walls are going to be dirty. The carpet is going to be dirty, may need replacing. And the tenant's not responsible for that because it goes back to normal wear and tear. So drawing it right back to the beginning of educating yourself of what you can and can't do.
Yeah. And if you're getting into any investment, I believe you should educate yourself. Whether we're talking stocks, bonds, cryptocurrency, or property investment. This is your investment. Now, we're here to guide you through it, but I just personally would not want to turn over all my money to somebody and say, you run with it and let's see what happens. I'm
Exactly.
accountable, you know. And I think, for the aspect of what I look at is an investor's mindset has to be detached, has to know the numbers, but there has to be a responsibility along with it. You have to accept the responsibility. And what
Yes.
I mean by that is a realtor is here to work for you. But investors, a good investor, is not going to look at one or two properties. A good investor is going to be looking at 300 properties. And out of those 300, he may get one. Maybe.
Yeah,
But
I can see that.
he has to do the work, right?
Mhm.
And as realtors, we may be able to show you, depending on where we are in our career and what we're doing and so forth, we may be able to show you all 300 homes. But if you're getting a experienced agent that's doing well in their career, chances are they're not going to be able to drive out and show you all 300 homes.
Yeah.
So what that means is you have to take accountability and responsibility and say, let me look up this address on the property appraiser's website. Let me see what the property appraiser, let me see if it's zoned. So many times will people ask us realtors, is this property zoned for short-term rental?
Yeah.
If I'm a good realtor, I'm not answering that. You got to call zoning. If I'm a bad realtor, sure, I'm going to answer it and we're both going to end up in a lawsuit. But a good realtor is going to tell you to contact zoning because you got to take accountability for your investment.
Well, everybody has their own level of expertise, right? I'm not going to answer legal questions for you. I'm going to direct you over to a lawyer. I'm not going to, I can't be your accountant. I can't, there's certain things that, now, if you ask me, hey, how much will this property rent for? Yes, I could go ahead and take a look and tell you how much this property will rent for and in a long-term lease. That's something where I am an expert at, whereas other people are expert at different things.
Yep, 100%. And, I think another thing for investors, especially investors starting out, is you got to realize you're building a team. You cannot
That's correct.
expect necessarily one person to be your legal counsel, to be your realtor, to be your property management, you can't expect it. You got to build a team. So get a good realtor that understands what is entailed in working with investors and how we are going to make offers and so forth. Get an amazing property manager like Nish and somebody that knows where your margins need to be, how much it can rent for, and can let you know, hey, I'm sorry, this is where you're going to have to make adjustments. You've got to build your team.
Exactly. I agree. When you're purchasing investment properties, you want to know, okay, well, this is how much money it's going to cost me. This is how much money is going to go into repairs. This is how much money I need to set aside for repairs in the future. My taxes, everything that goes into it. Because at the end of the day, this is the money that you're putting into it. You want to see a return out of it. If you're not going to see a return out of it, then don't put your money into it. I mean, that's the whole purpose of investing.
Absolutely. And, it again, realize that one, I'm accountable for so much of it, but also get the right people for the right job. Don't ask my realtor to be an inspector or
Yeah,
my property manager.
exactly.
That's one of the things that I was just talking with somebody the other day. They do a small property management company in which they handle cleaning, painting, those types of things, outside maintenance. And they were talking about how they get individuals that will ask them to inspect the roof. And I'm like, stay away from it.
Yeah, no,
You're not
that's
an
not my
inspector.
expertise. No.
Exactly. I can't assess the roof. I can't, if you're worried about the roof, get an assessor out there, a property assessor, get a inspector out there. I'm not going to answer it. I can't answer it. One, because it's not my expertise, but two, I don't want you to end up in court and I don't want to end up in court with you.
Yeah,
And, sometimes they think we're just protecting ourselves, but the reality is we are protecting them from those legal bills as well.
that is correct. Because when you get a licensed professional who comes and tells you, hey, this roof is okay, well, then that's on the licensed professional. It's not on the unlicensed professional, but then it falls back on you as the homeowner, as the investor that, well, you didn't use a licensed professional to let you know if this was in good standing or not. I mean, when I walk into a house, I can tell you if the refrigerator is working or not, but I can't, if the refrigerator is not working, I can't tell you what's wrong with it. I can just tell you, hey, the refrigerator is not working.
Yeah,
Same
absolutely.
thing with the roof. If the roof is leaking into my house, I can tell you, hey, the roof is leaking. Can I tell you where the hole is at? No, because I'm not going to get them there and inspect it, like you said.
Yeah. Well, and just working with inspectors, they're going to tell you, I've worked with enough of them. They're going to tell you it's not that easy to pinpoint a leak.
No, it's
Yep,
not.
we see evidence, but where is it? It's not that easy.
Water travels insane. And water goes in different places. You cannot track it that easily.
Yep. And if you don't know that, watch Jurassic Park. Jeff Goldblum. He explains it perfectly. But thank you, Nish. As always, I appreciate it. Thank you all for watching. I hope you got some benefit out of this. If you are an investor that is looking for a property manager, please reach out to Nish. He is amazing. If you're looking for a realtor in the area to help you, please contact me. I can connect you with some amazing realtors here in the Orlando area. Like, subscribe, share, and we appreciate you watching this, and we'll see you on the next video. Have a great day.
Thank you, everyone. Thank you.